The Science of Being Great. Inspired by Wallace D. Waddles. Written and published by Audible Aria. Originally published in 1911. The profound truth that greatness is not an elusive gift given to only a select few, but a science, an organized system of principles that anyone can learn and apply. Waddles, with his trademark clarity, lays out the blueprint for how anyone can achieve true greatness by understanding and working with the laws of the universe. Drawing on timeless wisdom, Waddles explores how your thoughts, beliefs, and actions shape your destiny. He stresses that greatness is the natural outcome of living in harmony with your highest potential. And through this book, he guides you step by step on how to cultivate the mindset and habits that lead to success, fulfillment, and self-mastery. Chapter 1. Any person may become great. Every person has a natural power within them. By using this power wisely, we can grow our minds and abilities. There's no limit to how much we can develop. No one has ever reached a level so high that others couldn't surpass it. This potential comes from the very substance that makes us human. True genius is more than talent. It's a connection between human effort and divine inspiration. While talent may be one skill developed more than others, genius is the full expression of the soul working in harmony with a higher power. Great people are always more than just their achievements. They are connected to a limitless source of potential. We don't know the full extent of what the human mind can achieve, and there may be no limit at all. Unlike animals, only humans have the ability to grow consciously. Animals can be trained by humans, but humans can train and improve themselves to an unlimited degree. The purpose of life is growth. Plants and trees grow automatically along fixed paths, but humans can choose how to grow. While plants can only develop certain traits, humans can develop any ability ever demonstrated by anyone. If something is possible in the spirit, it can also be achieved in physical life. Anything a person can imagine can become real. We are designed to grow, and growth is essential to our happiness. Without progress, life becomes unbearable. If we stop growing, we risk mental decline or unhappiness. The more balanced and well-rounded our growth, the happier we will be. Every person has the same potential, but no two people will grow in exactly the same way. Each of us has a natural path for growth, which makes it easier to excel in certain areas. This variety makes life richer. People are like a basket of flower bulbs. At first, they all look the same, but as they grow, their unique beauty is revealed. One person might be like a rose, adding beauty and joy to the world. Another might be like a sturdy oak, offering shelter and strength. Everyone has something special to offer. Even in ordinary lives, there are incredible possibilities. In times of crisis, even the most unlikely people can rise to greatness, showing the hidden power within them. Every person has a spark of genius waiting to be awakened. In every community, there's someone people turn to for wisdom and guidance. This person may do small things with greatness, but they could achieve even greater things if they tried. And so can you. The power within us gives as much as we ask of it. If we aim for small goals, it gives us power for small things. But if we aim for great things and approach them with determination, it provides all the strength we need. However, we must not try to achieve great things in a half-hearted way. There are two types of people. One, some are like a football. They respond to pressure but don't take action on their own. These people let circumstances control them. Two, Others are like a spring of water flowing with energy from within. They influence their surroundings and take charge of their lives. The greatest gift in life is to become self-driven. Life's challenges are meant to push us to take control of our growth and become masters of our own destiny. At the lowest level, a person may feel controlled by fear and external forces. But even the simplest person has the power to overcome fear and shape their own life. When they realize this and take control, they rise to their full potential. This awakening of inner power is like being reborn. It's a transformation from a life of limitations to one of endless possibilities. When this power comes alive, a person can achieve anything. No one has ever had a strength or talent that you cannot also develop. No one has done anything so great that you cannot do something just as amazing. You can become whatever you want to be. Chapter 2: Heredity and Opportunity. Your ability to achieve greatness isn't limited by your family background. It doesn't matter who your ancestors were or what their situation was. Your path to success is wide open. You aren't born with a fixed mindset. Even if you inherit little in terms of skills or knowledge from your parents, you can grow and improve. Everyone has the ability to develop and progress. While heredity influences some traits, like a tendency towards sadness, fear, or anger, these can be changed. Once you awaken to your inner potential, you can overcome these tendencies easily. They don't have to hold you back. If you've inherited negative traits, you can replace them with positive ones. These traits are simply habits of thought passed down from your parents, and you can form new, healthier habits by thinking differently. For example, you can replace sadness with cheerfulness or overcome fear and anger by building new patterns of thought. It's true that the shape of the skull can influence talents to some extent, as certain areas of the brain control specific abilities. A person with a brain area suited to music or mechanics, for example, might find those talents come more naturally. But this doesn't mean your future is decided by the shape of your skull. Even a small brain area with fine active cells can be as powerful as a larger one. You can strengthen any talent you have by focusing on it and practicing. This process increases the brain cells in that area, making it more effective. While it's easier to work with your natural strengths, you can develop any ability with effort. You can become whatever you want to be if you're willing to put in the work. When you focus on a goal, all your energy is directed toward developing the abilities you need. Your brain adapts, growing stronger and more capable in those areas. Your mind shapes your brain, not the other way around. Your place in life isn't determined by your family, circumstances, or lack of opportunities. If you have the right mindset and the will to rise, nothing can hold you back. The power that created humanity and designed it for growth also influences society and the world around us. This power works in your favor when you decide to move forward. As you grow, the world aligns to support your progress. Humans are meant to grow, and everything around us is designed to help. When you awaken to your potential and choose to advance, you'll find that nature, society, and people work with you, not against you. Even poverty is not a barrier to greatness. Many great people started with nothing. Martin Luther begged for bread as a child. Linnaeus, the scientist, educated himself with just $40 and often relied on friends for meals. George Stephenson, the inventor of the locomotive, was a coal miner when he began to think and create. Abraham Lincoln started life as a poor boy. All these individuals rose above their circumstances because they tapped into the power within them. You have that same power within you. If you use it wisely, you can overcome your background, change your circumstances, and become a strong and successful person. Chapter 3. The Source of Power. A person's brain, body, talents, and abilities are tools they use to achieve greatness. But these things alone don't make someone great. A person may have a sharp mind, strong skills, and impressive talents, but they aren't truly great unless they use these in a great way. The key quality that makes someone use their abilities in a great way is called wisdom. And wisdom is the foundation of greatness. Wisdom is the ability to see the best goals to aim for and the best ways to achieve them. It is the power to understand what the right thing to do is. A person who knows the right thing to do, wants to do it, and has the strength and ability to make it happen is truly great. Such a person stands out as someone powerful and trustworthy in any community, and people will respect and honor them. Wisdom depends on knowledge. Without knowledge, there can be no wisdom, because you can't know the right thing to do if you're completely ignorant. Human knowledge is limited, so human wisdom is also limited unless we connect to a source of knowledge greater than our own. This is exactly what truly great men and women have done. Human knowledge is imperfect, so wisdom cannot come entirely from within us. Only God knows all truth, and only God has complete wisdom. However, humans can receive wisdom from God through inspiration. Let's look at an example. Abraham Lincoln had little formal education, but he had a remarkable ability to understand the truth. Lincoln's greatness came from his ability to see the right thing to do in any situation, to commit to doing it, and to have the ability and strength to follow through. During the debates over slavery, when many people were confused about what was right, Lincoln stayed clear-headed. He saw the flaws in the arguments of pro-slavery advocates and the impractical ideas of some abolitionists. He focused on the right goals and the best ways to achieve them, because people trusted his ability to see and do the right thing. They made him president. Anyone who consistently understands the truth, knows what to do, and can be trusted to do it, will be respected and given opportunities. The world is always searching for such people. When Lincoln became president, he faced many disagreements. His advisors often opposed his decisions, and even the northern states didn't always support him. But Lincoln had a clear vision of the truth when others were misled by appearances. His judgment was rarely wrong, and he became the strongest leader and strategist of his time. So, where did Lincoln's wisdom come from? It wasn't because of the shape of his skull or the structure of his brain. It wasn't a result of superior reasoning skills either. Wisdom doesn't always come from logical reasoning. Lincoln's wisdom came from spiritual insight, a deep understanding of truth. But how did he gain this insight? We see something similar in George Washington, whose faith and courage kept the American colonies united during the Revolutionary War, even when success seemed impossible. Napoleon, known for his military genius, also had an extraordinary ability to know the best strategies. In all these cases, their greatness came from something beyond themselves. There was a higher power behind their insight and achievements. This is true of all great men and women. They perceive truth, but truth doesn't exist on its own. It must be perceived by a mind. Great leaders like Lincoln and Washington were connected to a greater mind, one that holds all knowledge and truth. This connection to the divine mind, reading the mind of God, is the source of true wisdom. Chapter 4. The Mind of God. There is a universal intelligence that exists in and through everything. This is the one true substance from which all things are made. It is the essence of God. Without substance, there can be no intelligence, because intelligence requires something to exist in. Thought must come from a substance that thinks. It cannot simply be motion or vibration, as motion alone cannot think. Motion is just the movement of substance, but intelligence comes from the substance itself, not the movement. Thought doesn't come from the motions in the brain. If thought exists in the brain, it must come from the living substance within it. A brain without life is incapable of thought. It is the life within the brain, the spirit substance that thinks. The brain doesn't create thoughts. It's the person, the spirit within, that thinks and uses the brain to express those thoughts. Just as the spirit within a person animates their body and thinks, the Spirit of God, or universal intelligence, fills and animates all of nature. This intelligence, which we call God, knows and thinks throughout all of creation. Nature is intelligent and knows far more than any human. God's mind, or the universal intelligence, holds all knowledge because it has been present from the very beginning of everything. God's experience includes everything that has ever happened, from massive cosmic events to the smallest detail, like the fall of a sparrow. The knowledge of the universe surrounds us and is part of us. Compared to this vast intelligence, all the books and encyclopedias ever written by humans are tiny and insignificant. The truths we discover through inspiration are thoughts that already exist within this universal mind. Without this mind, those truths wouldn't exist. A mind must be a substance that thinks. Humans are thinking beings, part of this greater universal substance. But while we are limited, the universal intelligence, which Jesus called the Father, is infinite. All power, wisdom, and truth come from this Father. Jesus understood this and often spoke about how his wisdom and abilities came from his connection to God. "My Father and I are one," he said, emphasizing his unity with God as the source of his power. He encouraged people to awaken spiritually, hear his words, and become like him. Jesus compared an unthinking person controlled by circumstances to someone who is spiritually dead. He urged them to come forth and live. God is spirit, he said, teaching that to truly live, we must awaken spiritually and connect with this divine intelligence. By hearing his words and accepting them, people could find a source of life and strength within themselves. Jesus said, "I do what I see the Father do," meaning he followed God's thoughts and guidance. He taught that if anyone truly wanted to follow God's will, they would understand the truth. He promised that the Spirit would guide them into all truth. We are surrounded by the universal mind, which holds all knowledge and truth. This mind wants to share its wisdom with us because, like a loving parent, God delights in giving to his children. The great figures of history became great not because of human teachings, but because they received inspiration and guidance from God. This infinite source of wisdom and power is available to you. You can draw from it as much as you need to become what you wish to be, do what you want to do, and have what you desire. To access this, you must strive to unite with God, so you can understand truth, gain wisdom, and find the strength and ability to achieve your goals. Chapter 5. Preparation. Get closer to God, and he will get closer to you. When you live in alignment with God's ways, You can understand his thoughts. But if you don't, you'll struggle to see the truth clearly. You can't become truly great until you conquer anxiety, worry, and fear. A mind clouded by these emotions distorts reality and prevents you from seeing things as they are. Such a state keeps you from connecting with God's wisdom. If you're struggling financially or worried about money, consider studying the science of getting rich. It offers practical solutions for even the toughest financial challenges. There's no need to worry. Anyone can rise above lack, have enough, and achieve wealth by learning and applying these principles. The same source of spiritual and mental growth can also meet your material needs. Reflect on this truth until you're free from financial anxiety and follow the path that leads to abundance. If you're worried about your health, know that perfect health is within your reach. The same power that provides wealth and wisdom also offers strength and vitality. By living in harmony with life's simple laws, you can overcome illness and eliminate fear. However, rising above financial and physical worries isn't enough. You also need to address your moral intentions. Look within and ensure your motives are pure. You must let go of desires driven by lust or appetite. Eat to nourish your body, not for overindulgence, and let your spirit guide your actions. Avoid greed, pride, and selfish ambitions. Seek wealth for your soul's growth, not to satisfy shallow desires. Avoid the urge to dominate others or seek status for its own sake. True greatness isn't about being in control or admired. It's about seeking a higher purpose. Envy has no place in your heart. You can have everything you need, so there's no reason to desire what others have. Most importantly, let go of malice or resentment towards anyone. These feelings block your connection with the divine. As the saying goes, if you don't love others, you can't truly love God. Let go of selfish goals and focus on pursuing what is truly good. Examine your heart, remove all harmful thoughts and habits, and commit to living by your highest ideals. Make this commitment with all your strength, and you'll be ready for the next step toward greatness. Chapter 6. The Social Point of View. Without faith, you cannot please God, and without faith, you cannot achieve greatness. Every truly great person has one thing in common: unshakable faith. Think of Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War, George Washington at Valley Forge, or David Livingstone fighting the slave trade in Africa. They all believed deeply in something bigger than themselves. A principle, a truth, or a higher power that would ultimately prevail. Faith isn't about believing in your own abilities. It's about trusting in the greater purpose that governs life and guarantees victory in the right time. Without this kind of faith, true greatness is out of reach. People who lack faith in principles will always remain small. Whether or not you have this faith depends on how you see the world. You must view the world as something that's constantly growing and evolving, not as something finished or flawed. Millions of years ago, life on Earth started with simple, crude forms. Each stage was perfect for its time, even though it wasn't the final version. In the same way, our world today, physically, socially, and economically, is perfect for its current stage, though it is not yet complete. You must learn to see everything, nature, society, and people, as perfect in their current state, even if unfinished. Nothing is truly wrong. Everything is part of a larger process. Nature, for example, has no evil. It's always working toward greater abundance and happiness for humanity. It is perfect now, just as it was in the past, but it's still unfolding. The same is true for human society. Problems like poverty, inequality, and corruption are part of humanity's growth. They're not signs of failure, but stages in an evolutionary process. Just as ancient creatures were perfect for their time, even industrial practices and figures like J.P. Morgan are perfect in their roles in history's bigger picture. This doesn't mean we accept things passively. Instead, we work toward completion, not fixing a broken world but helping an unfinished one grow. When we see the world as inherently good and improving, we gain hope and purpose, which strengthens our faith and expands our potential for greatness. Social issues like child labor or exploitation are not permanent evils, but reflections of humanity's current level of development. Just as humans evolved from cavemen to thinkers, industry and society will evolve too. The change will come when people desire something higher, not just material pleasures, but mental and spiritual growth. When the majority of people rise to a higher level of thinking, society will transform. Until then, it remains perfect for its current stage, just as saloons or vices reflect the desires of those who support them. Your role is not to condemn, but to work for growth. View civilization as a good thing, becoming better, not a bad thing falling apart. This mindset will help you think bigger, act with purpose, and contribute to the world's evolution. The key to greatness lies in maintaining this higher perspective. Trust that all things, even the challenges, are part of a divine plan. Align your attitude with this truth. The world is perfect, though unfinished. Behold, it is all very good. Chapter 7. The Individual Point of View. How you view other people and yourself is even more important than how you see the world. Instead of seeing the world as broken and falling apart, see it as something beautiful and perfect, moving toward an even better future. The same goes for people. Don't think of them as bad or hopeless. See them as perfect beings on their way to becoming complete. No one is truly evil. Think of a train engine pulling a heavy load. When it's on the tracks, it's doing exactly what it's meant to do. And it's good. If the engine gets derailed, it's not bad. It's just off the tracks and needs to be set right again. People are the same. Even when they seem off track, they are still good and capable of greatness. They don't need judgment or punishment. They need understanding and help to get back on course. What we often see as bad is just something unfinished or misunderstood, like an ugly bulb that will one day bloom into a beautiful lily. When we realize this, we stop criticizing, judging, or condemning others. Instead, we work with joy, helping to bring out the best in everyone around us. We see humanity not as lost, but as a glorious creation, moving toward its full potential. This mindset changes everything. It opens your heart, expands your perspective, and helps you treat others with kindness and respect. You see their greatness, even if it hasn't fully appeared yet, and you start dealing with people in a bigger, better way. The same applies to how you see yourself. Always view yourself as a great soul, growing and evolving. Remind yourself, there's a part of me that is perfect and strong, untouched by weakness or fear. The world may be incomplete, but God within me is perfect and whole. The only thing that can ever go wrong is my own attitude, and even that can be corrected by listening to the truth within me. I am a perfect reflection of God as far as I've come, and I will keep growing to be even more complete. I will trust the process and live without fear. When you truly believe this, fear will leave you. and you'll take big steps toward becoming the powerful, great person you are meant to be. Chapter 8. Consecration. Once you've learned to see the world and others from the right perspective, the next step is dedication. Dedication to following the deepest, truest part of yourself. This means listening to the voice within you that always urges you to grow and move forward. That inner voice is the divine source of your power, and you must follow it without hesitation. Greatness isn't something external. It comes from within. True greatness arises from the highest part of you, not just your mind or reasoning. Your intellect can help you figure out how to do things, but it doesn't tell you what is truly right. Without being guided by deeper principles, intellect can be used selfishly or harmfully, no matter how clever you are. What really matters is obedience to your soul, the purest part of yourself that knows the right path in every situation. The clearer your connection to this inner truth, the more power and greatness you will show in your life. Compromising on this principle will always diminish your power. To truly dedicate yourself, let go of anything that holds you back. Abandon outdated ideas and habits that no longer serve you. Rise above small-minded customs or beliefs that make you feel limited. Don't waste energy supporting institutions or rules you no longer believe in. Free yourself from fear, distrust, selfishness, or actions that betray your best self. Instead, replace these with the best actions and thoughts you can imagine. If you aren't moving forward, it's likely because your actions aren't matching your highest thoughts. Align your life with your best ideas and live up to your highest principles. In your work, community, home, and family, let your actions reflect kindness, integrity, and greatness. Treat everyone, especially your loved ones, with dignity, respect, and grace. Remember, you are a powerful being among others who are also on their own path to greatness. Act accordingly. Dedication is simple but profound. Let your body be guided by your mind. Let your mind be led by your soul. Let your soul be guided by God. Say to yourself, I give my body to follow my mind. I give my mind to follow my soul. And I give my soul to follow God's guidance. When you commit to this fully, you will take a major step toward true greatness and power. How does this resonate with where you are in your personal growth journey? Chapter 9. Identification. Once you've come to understand God as the guiding force in nature, society, and people, and aligned yourself with this truth, your next step is recognizing that the power within you is God Himself. You need to consciously connect with this truth. This isn't pretending or wishing, it's recognizing what's already real. You are already one with God. You just need to become fully aware of it. Everything comes from one source, a conscious, thinking, and powerful substance that creates all things. This substance is God, and all power comes from it. Since you are a part of this substance, you are also a part of God. If you think, feel, and exist, then you are conscious substance. And because there is only one conscious substance in the universe, you and God are made of the same essence. The intelligence and creativity you see in God are also within you. These abilities and powers aren't reserved for a select few. They exist in every single person. As the scriptures say, ye are gods. This means the principle of power in you is you, and you are an expression of God. However, while you have incredible potential, your awareness and knowledge are limited. This is why you make mistakes. To rise above error, You must connect your mind with the universal mind, which knows everything, past, present, and future. This universal mind, God's mind, surrounds you completely. It's closer to you than your breath or heartbeat. It holds the memory of everything that has ever happened and the purpose behind all things. It knows everything there is to know. Since you are made of the same essence as this mind, you can tap into its wisdom. Jesus demonstrated this when he said, "I and my Father are one," and "The Spirit shall guide you into all truth." Like Jesus, you can consciously unite with this infinite intelligence. To do this, you must actively recognize and affirm your unity with God. Affirm, there is only one, and that one is everywhere. I choose to unite with the highest. It is not my will, but the Father's will through me. I am one with infinite consciousness. There is only one mind, and I am a part of it. If you've followed the earlier steps, adopting the right perspective, dedicating yourself to your higher purpose, this sense of oneness will come naturally. Once you fully embrace your unity with God, you will have access to all the power and wisdom you need. This recognition isn't just a belief, it's a life-changing realization. When you truly identify with God, you become one with infinite power and infinite possibility. Chapter 11. Realization. If you stop with just dreaming and imagining your future, you won't achieve greatness. You'll remain someone who dreams big but never takes action. Many people make this mistake. They don't realize that bringing their dreams to life requires action in the present. 2 steps are needed to succeed. First, create a clear vision of what you want. And second, take actions to make that vision real. The first step is about thinking and imagining. Now, let's focus on the second step, acting on it. Once you've formed a clear picture of what you want, you're ready on the inside. But now you must become that person on the outside. You already have greatness within you, but it hasn't shown in your actions yet. You won't instantly be recognized as a great actor, lawyer, musician, or leader. People won't trust you with big responsibilities right away because they don't know your potential yet. But you can start small. Do even the little tasks in a great way. This is the key. Start showing your greatness today, right where you are. At home, at work, or in your community. Put your best effort and your whole heart into everything you do, no matter how small or ordinary it seems. Let your actions show your greatness to the people around you. Don't brag or talk about how great you are. Simply live in a way that demonstrates it. Words won't convince people, but your actions will. Be kind, fair, generous, and respectful to your family and everyone you meet. Greatness always shows through these qualities. Beyond your actions, you must have complete faith in your ability to recognize what's true and right. Don't act out of haste or fear. Take your time to understand what feels right. And when you're sure, follow that inner feeling, even if others disagree. If you don't trust your sense of truth in small matters, you won't be able to rely on it in bigger ones. Start by trusting your instincts in everyday decisions, and you'll build the ability to see what's true in larger situations. Remember, you're developing the power to understand truth, which is like learning to see things from God's perspective. God cares about both the big and small details of life. Trust that you can perceive the truth about simple, everyday things just as much as about larger, more significant matters. When you feel strongly that something is the right thing to do, even if it seems unreasonable or others advise against it, follow that feeling. Listen to advice, but always trust your inner voice. Act with faith and confidence. If you feel certain that a specific event will happen or a person will be in a certain place, trust it and act accordingly, even if it seems unlikely. At first, you might make some mistakes as you learn to trust your instincts, but with practice, you'll become more accurate. As you act on your inner truth, people will start to notice. Your family and friends will trust your judgment. Your community will come to you for advice. You'll first be seen as great in small matters, and gradually, you'll be given opportunities to handle bigger responsibilities. The most important thing is to always follow your inner guidance, your perception of truth. Trust yourself completely. Never doubt yourself or think you're someone who makes mistakes. Believe in the truth you feel within. As the Bible says, if I judge, my judgment is just. For I seek not honor from men, but from the Father only. Chapter 12. Hurry and Habit. You may have many problems. At home, with your health, in your relationships, or with money, that feel like they need to be fixed immediately. You might feel pressure to act fast because of debts, obligations, or an unhappy situation. But don't rush into decisions based on stress or panic. Trust that God has a solution for every problem. There's no need to hurry because everything is under control, even if it doesn't feel that way. There is a powerful force within you, and that same power is in the things you desire. This force is bringing you and your desires closer together. Keep this thought in your mind. The same intelligence that exists within you also exists in the things you want. Your desires are being drawn to you just as strongly as you are drawn to them. When you keep your thoughts steady and focused, this natural pull will bring what you want into your life. As long as your thoughts and faith stay positive, things will work out. The only thing that can go wrong is your attitude, and even that won't happen if you trust and stay calm. Hurrying is a sign of fear. When you trust and aren't afraid, you'll feel like you have plenty of time. Acting with faith in your inner truth will ensure you're never too late or too early. Everything will happen at the right time. If it seems like things are going wrong, don't get upset. It's just an illusion. The only thing that can truly go wrong is your mindset. And that only happens when you let yourself become negative or rushed. When you start to feel worried, anxious, or like you're in a hurry, take a step back. Pause, reflect, or do something relaxing like playing a game or taking a break. When you return, you'll find things back on track. Hurry and fear disconnect you from the universal power within you. When you're calm and balanced, you're strong and connected. When you're rushed or stressed, you lose access to that strength. Whenever you feel hurried, know that you've lost the right perspective. You've started to see the world as chaotic or broken. In those moments, remind yourself that the world is already perfect, just as it is. Nothing is truly wrong. Stay calm, confident, and trust in God. One of your biggest challenges will be breaking old thought patterns and building new ones. Habit is powerful. It shapes how we think, act, and live. The systems and institutions in the world exist because people have formed habits of accepting them as they are. When habits change, so do those systems. You might have a habit of thinking of yourself as ordinary, limited, or a failure. Whatever you think of yourself regularly, that's what you become. To change your life, you must build a new habit of thinking of yourself as powerful and capable. It's not enough to think positively for a few moments each day. If, for the rest of the day, you think of yourself as small or weak, your old habits will stay in control. Prayer and affirmations won't work unless they help you change the way you habitually see yourself. Habits are formed through repetition. By repeating certain thoughts over and over, they become a natural part of how you think. These repeated thoughts turn into beliefs, and those beliefs shape your life. Your current circumstances are not the result of your environment. They are the result of your habitual thoughts. You have a core idea about yourself, and this idea influences how you see the world and how you interact with it. If your core idea is that you're limited or weak, you must replace it with a new belief. Start imagining yourself as strong, capable, and full of potential. Don't just repeat empty words. Focus on the idea of your power and ability until it becomes the way you naturally see yourself. Your habitual thoughts, not your situation, define who you are. Change your core belief about yourself, and you'll change your life. Chapter 13. Thought. Greatness starts with great thoughts. You can't become great on the outside until you are great on the inside. And that only happens when you learn to think deeply. No amount of reading, studying, or education will make you great if you don't think. But with real thinking, even a little study can take you far. Many people try to improve themselves by reading non-stop, but without thinking, they won't succeed. It's not what you read that develops your mind. It's what you think about after you read. Thinking is hard work, and that's why so many people avoid it. Instead of facing their thoughts, they fill their time with distractions, like entertainment or constant activity. Most people spend their free time running from their own thoughts. They read novels, watch shows, or chase endless amusements to keep their minds busy. But by avoiding thinking, they stay stuck where they are. True progress only begins when you start to think. Instead of consuming more and more information, spend time reflecting on big questions and important ideas. For example, many of today's leaders focus on small, practical issues like money or political wins. That's why they lack the greatness of leaders like Lincoln, who thought about eternal truths, human rights, and justice. Those leaders became great because they focused on great ideas. Thinking isn't just about gathering knowledge. It's about growing as a person. Every new thought leads to another. Write down one idea, and more will follow. Your mind has no limits. As you keep thinking, you'll discover new abilities and activate more of your potential. Your background, environment, and circumstances can't stop you if you develop the habit of deep and sustained thinking. But if you rely only on the thoughts of others, you'll never know what you're capable of, and you'll eventually lose the ability to think for yourself. Greatness always starts with original thought. Everything you do on the outside comes from the thoughts you've had on the inside. No action happens without thought, and no great action happens without a great thought behind it. Your actions, personality, and even your surroundings reflect your thoughts. As Emerson said, there's a central idea about yourself that shapes how you see the world and arrange your life. Change that central idea, and everything around you will change too. You are who you are, and where you are, because of how you think. That's why it's so important to think about the big ideas shared here. Don't just accept them at face value. Reflect on them until they become a part of how you see yourself and the world. Think deeply about this truth. You live in a perfect world filled with perfect people, and the only thing that can go wrong is your own attitude. Reflect on the fact that this world created by God is evolving toward even greater harmony and completeness. There is one intelligent, powerful force behind everything, guiding the universe. This same intelligence is within you. It's your own inner light, leading you toward what's best, what's right, and what will bring you the greatest joy. This principle of power gives you all the talent, ability, and genius you need. Trust it, follow it, and it will guide you to the best path. When you say, "I will obey my soul," you're committing to live by this inner truth. This isn't just a nice idea. It's a commitment to live in a new way. When you truly understand your connection to this universal intelligence, you realize that all its wisdom and power are available to you. If you think like a god, you will act like a god. Divine thoughts lead to a divine life. Thoughts of strength and power will create a life filled with strength and power. Great thoughts will make you a great person. Think deeply on these ideas, and when they take root in you, you'll be ready to act. Chapter 14. Action at Home. Don't just think you'll become great someday. Believe you're great right now. Don't wait for a better time to start acting great. Start today. Don't think you need to be in a different place to act with greatness. Start where you are. Don't wait for big opportunities. Handle small things with greatness now. Don't wait to be surrounded by smarter people or those who understand you better. Treat the people around you with greatness right now. If your environment doesn't match your abilities, you can move when the time is right. But until then, be great where you are. Abraham Lincoln was great as a small-town lawyer, just as he was as president. He became president because he handled ordinary tasks in extraordinary ways. If he had waited until Washington to act great, no one would have known his name. Your greatness doesn't come from where you are, what you have, or what others give you. You become great when you rely on yourself. Stop depending on things, people, or books to make you great. Like Emerson said, Shakespeare didn't become Shakespeare by copying others. He created greatness by thinking his own thoughts. It doesn't matter how others treat you, even those closest to you. People might ignore or mistreat you, but that shouldn't stop you from being kind and great towards them. Jesus said, "God is kind to everyone, even the ungrateful." Would God stop being great because people didn't appreciate him? Be kind to everyone, just like God is. Don't brag about your greatness. You are not better than others. You've just found a way of thinking they might not know yet. But they are perfect where they are, just as you are. If you compare their mistakes to your strengths, you'll become boastful and small. True greatness is humble. See yourself as equal to everyone else. Don't act superior or inferior. Don't seek recognition. If you deserve it, it will come naturally. Start by being great at home. A truly great person is steady, calm, kind, and thoughtful with their family. Be someone your family can rely on, and they'll value and love you. But don't lose yourself in serving others. A great person respects themselves. Help others, but don't let them take advantage of you. Doing too much for others, especially things they should do for themselves, doesn't help. It harms them. A better world is one where everyone takes responsibility for themselves. Be kind and considerate, but don't let anyone control you with their selfish demands. Serving others excessively isn't great, and it doesn't help them grow. Don't stress over your family's mistakes or feel the need to fix them. Everyone is on their own path, and you can't improve God's work. Avoid criticizing or interfering with others, even if they're close to you. Their habits and choices are not your business. Focus on fixing your own attitude, and you'll see everything else in a better light. True greatness is accepting others as they are without trying to change them. Live your life the way that feels right for you, and trust that others are doing the same. Nothing is truly wrong with anyone or anything. See everything as good. Don't let others control you, but also don't control others. Think deeply and often. Be perfectly kind and considerate. Treat everyone as equals, not as lesser beings. This is how to live with greatness in your own home. Chapter 15. Action Abroad. The way you act at home should guide how you act everywhere. Always remember, this world is perfect, and you are one of many gods, equal to all but as great as the greatest. Trust your inner sense of truth. Listen to the deeper voice within you. Not just your reasoning, but make sure that voice comes from a place of calm and clarity. Stay steady and focused. When you connect with the wisdom of the universe, you'll know exactly what to do in any situation. Stay calm and rely on the eternal wisdom inside you. If you act with confidence and faith, your decisions will be right, and you'll always know the next step. Don't rush or stress. Think about Abraham Lincoln during the darkest days of the Civil War. After a devastating loss, he gave hope to the nation. People came to him feeling lost, but left feeling uplifted. They didn't realize it, but they saw God's strength and patience in him. Have faith in yourself and your ability to handle any situation. Don't worry about being alone. If you need friends or support, they'll come to you at the right time. Don't worry about not knowing enough. The knowledge you need will come when it's needed. The right people, books, or opportunities will cross your path when the time is right. Everything you need, both inside and outside of yourself, will show up when it's necessary. Jesus reminded his followers not to worry about what to say when they faced challenges, because they'd have the strength and words they needed when the moment came. As you grow and act in greater ways, your mind and abilities will naturally develop. Your brain will become a stronger tool for your mind as you grow into your potential. Don't rush into doing big things before you're ready. If you approach great opportunities with doubt or lack of preparation, you'll struggle. Instead, focus on becoming great where you are. When you grow into greatness, bigger opportunities will find you. Don't seek recognition or fame. True greatness is its own reward. The joy of becoming better and knowing you're making progress is the best reward. Start with your family and those around you. When you act with strength, wisdom, and kindness, people will come to rely on you. They'll trust your advice and look to you for support. But avoid meddling in other people's lives. Help those who ask for your guidance, but don't go around trying to fix everyone. Focus on living your own life with greatness. It's not your job to change someone's habits or beliefs. Live a great life and let your actions inspire others. If someone smokes or drinks, that's their choice. It's not your concern unless they come to you for help. A life lived with purpose and kindness will influence far more people than constant preaching. When you live in alignment with truth, people will see it in your actions and naturally be drawn to you. You don't need to convince others of your connection to a higher purpose. If it's real, it will be obvious in how you live. To be known as a great person, you don't need to prove it. Just live it. Don't chase after big opportunities or try to force greatness. Focus on living a meaningful life in your current circumstances. When you're ready, greater opportunities will naturally find you. Treat everyone with dignity and respect. Whether someone is rich or poor, they are just as important. See the world as good and recognize the value in every person and thing. Keep this in mind when you interact with people. Picture yourself as the best version of who you want to be and trust that you are becoming that person. Act, speak, and think in alignment with greatness. Live each moment as if you are a divine being among other divine beings. When you do this consistently, your growth in ability and power will happen quickly and naturally. Chapter 16. Some further explanations. Many of us were taught to think the world is like a broken ship heading for disaster. We've been told the world is bad, getting worse, and that things like chaos and conflict will only increase. This way of thinking makes us feel hopeless about society, humanity, and even ourselves. It limits our ability to see possibilities and think positively. But this view is completely wrong. The world isn't broken. It's like a powerful ship with everything it needs to succeed. The engines are strong, the fuel and supplies are plenty, and the ship is built for safety and comfort. Nothing is missing. The ship isn't wrecked. It's just being steered poorly. Right now, we're still learning how to navigate. Eventually, we'll guide this ship into a place of harmony and peace. The world is good and getting better. The conflicts and struggles we see are simply bumps in the journey, caused by our imperfect steering. In time, we'll smooth things out. This perspective gives us hope, helps us think bigger, and encourages us to act with purpose. When we believe the world is moving forward, we can trust that our lives are also on the right track. Nothing is truly wrong. Even if things feel off, they're part of a greater process leading to something better. Your own life is part of this bigger movement. If you stay aligned with positivity and growth, nothing can truly go wrong for you. The only thing that can hold you back is your own mindset. If your thoughts are in conflict with the natural flow of life, you'll feel stuck. But when you focus on keeping yourself steady and positive, you'll naturally move forward with everything else. How you see the world affects how you see yourself. If you believe the world is broken and hopeless, you'll see yourself the same way. If you think the world is failing, you'll believe you're failing too. But if you see the world as good, growing, and full of possibilities, you'll see yourself in the same light. Your thoughts about yourself create your reality. If you think of yourself as weak or incapable, you'll imagine yourself in a life of struggle or lack. Over time, those negative thoughts will shape your life. But if you see yourself as capable, valuable, and full of potential, you'll start to attract a better life. This happens because your thoughts influence the energy around you. The ideas you hold in your mind eventually take shape in your life. Your surroundings, opportunities, and even challenges reflect the way you think about yourself and the world. Look at the world, nature, and society as part of a living, growing force. Everything comes from the same source and is fundamentally good. You're made of the same energy as God. The qualities and powers of God are within you. When you recognize this, you'll understand that you have the strength to move forward, create, and grow. Everything you need is already inside you. You just have to align your thoughts with that truth. Chapter 17. Think deeply. Let's take some time to think about the power of our thoughts. You can't achieve greatness unless your thoughts lead you there. So it's important to think deeply. You won't create great things in the world around you until you first think great things within yourself. And you can't think great things unless you focus on truth and what really matters. To think big, you must be honest with yourself. Honesty comes from knowing your intentions are good. If your thinking isn't sincere, it can't be truly great, no matter how smart or logical it seems. The first step is to understand how you should treat others and how they should treat you. This means searching for the right perspective on life and relationships. To get this perspective, study how the world and society evolve. Read thinkers like Darwin and Walter Thomas Mills and take time to reflect on what you read. Think deeply about the world, people, and even what God is doing until you see things clearly. Next, focus on developing the right attitude. Your viewpoint will guide you, and your soul will push you in the right direction. To think sincerely, you must commit yourself fully to the best version of yourself. If you're selfish, dishonest, or have bad intentions, your thinking will be flawed, and your thoughts will lack power. Reflect on how you're living, and make sure your actions and goals align with what's right. Understanding that you're connected to God takes deep and consistent thinking. Many people accept the idea of God casually, but truly understanding it is different. It's easier to think of meeting God outside yourself, but the truth is, He is within you. Inside your soul, you can find Him. The amazing thing is that everything you need is already inside you. You don't need to get new power. You just need to use what you already have in the right way. Start by living according to the truth you already know. The more you do this, the clearer your understanding of truth will become. To change old, wrong ideas, think about the greatness and value of people. Stop focusing on mistakes and faults. Instead, focus on their successes and strengths. Don't see people as broken or doomed. See them as shining souls moving towards something better. This shift in perspective takes willpower, but that's what your will is for. To choose how and what to think about. Use your will to focus only on the good in people, their beauty and their potential. For example, Eugene V. Debs, a socialist leader, showed deep respect for humanity. He treated everyone, from rich to poor, with kindness and warmth. Even a child on the street received his attention and care. His love for people made him a great leader and inspired millions. Loving people like this comes from deep thought. Greatness comes from thought. Thinkers can be divided into those who think for themselves and those who rely on others' ideas. True greatness comes from original thinking. Here are some quotes that emphasize this. Schopenhauer said, "Every person is guided by their thoughts, and you can only change someone by introducing a new idea that they accept." Emerson said, "All wise ideas have been thought before, but you must think them honestly for yourself to truly own them." Goethe said, "Your actions and character are shaped by your inner thoughts." Channing believed that spirituality and thought are the strongest forces in the world. Emerson also warned that some people learn all their lives but never actually think. In the end, your habitual thoughts shape your life more than anything else. They're even more influential than your closest relationships. So, think. Think deeply, honestly, and with purpose. Chapter 18. Jesus' Idea of Greatness. In Matthew chapter 23, Jesus clearly explains the difference between true greatness and false greatness. He also warns about a big danger for anyone who wants to become great, a sneaky temptation that must be avoided and constantly fought against. Jesus speaks to the crowd and his disciples, warning them not to follow the example of the Pharisees. The Pharisees were good, moral people, fair judges, honest lawmakers, and upright in their actions. But they loved being in the spotlight. They wanted the best seats at events and enjoyed being called master in public. Jesus has taught something very different. He said, "If you want to be great, you must serve others." Most people think greatness means having power and getting others to serve them. They believe a great person is someone who can control and command others. Many people, especially selfish ones, love to dominate and control others. This desire for control has been around since the beginning of time. When humans first appeared, they started enslaving each other. Throughout history, wars, politics, and government have often been about gaining power over others. Kings and rulers have shed blood and caused suffering just to expand their control. Even in business today, the same desire for power is at work. Robert G. Ingersoll once wondered why wealthy men like Rockefeller and Carnegie kept chasing more money when they already had more than they could ever spend. He compared it to a man obsessively collecting thousands of coats or neckties. But this comparison falls short because clothes don't give power, while money does. Men like Rockefeller and Carnegie weren't just chasing money. They were chasing power. This mindset mirrors the Pharisees' desire for high status. It creates smart and skilled people, but not truly great ones. True greatness, as Jesus said, comes from serving others. Think about Abraham Lincoln. When asked to name the greatest American, most people would say Lincoln. Why? Because he lived a life of service. He wasn't a servant in a submissive way, but he dedicated himself to helping others. This is what made him truly great. In contrast, Napoleon was brilliant, but cold and selfish. He sought power and status, but he wasn't great in the same way as Lincoln. When you start to succeed, you'll face a new danger. You might feel tempted to control others, give advice they didn't ask for, or take charge of their lives. At the same time, avoid going to the opposite extreme, completely sacrificing yourself to serve others. Many people believe that giving up everything for others is the best way to live, thinking this is what Jesus taught. But this is a misunderstanding. Some people give up their own goals to do good, but this kind of life can be just as unhealthy as selfishness. Helping others is important, and a big part of a great life involves serving others. But that's not all there is to greatness. You must also focus on your own growth and purpose. As you succeed, people will come to you for help. Don't ignore them, but don't believe that giving up everything for others is the only way to live a great life. Swedenborg, a spiritual thinker, had the same view as Jesus about human motives. He divided people into two groups: those who live with pure love and those who live with selfish love for power. This selfish desire for power, like the Pharisees had, is the root of all sin, according to Swedenborg. On the other hand, pure love is the opposite of this selfishness. Swedenborg didn't say, this love is just about loving God or loving people. It's about love itself. Many religious people focus more on loving and serving God than on loving others. But loving God alone doesn't stop someone from craving power. Some of the most passionate worshippers of God have been ruthless tyrants. Loving God doesn't guarantee goodness, and loving people can sometimes lead to meddling and controlling behavior. True greatness comes from finding balance, serving others without seeking control, and living with genuine love, not selfishness. Chapter 19. A View of Evolution. How can we avoid losing ourselves in helping others when there is so much poverty, ignorance, suffering, and misery all around us? For many, living in such conditions, it's hard not to keep giving. At the same time, when we see injustice, especially against the weak, it stirs something in us. We feel the urge to fix things, to lead a mission to make the world right, and to give ourselves completely to the cause. But we need to take a step back and change how we see the world. This is not a bad world. It's a good world that's still growing and improving. Long ago, this planet was a fiery ball of gas and molten rock, surrounded by boiling vapors. Life couldn't exist then, but over time, the earth cooled, water gathered, and eventually, the first forms of life appeared. This life likely started as simple, single-celled organisms. Behind these small beginnings was a driving force, God's spirit, pushing life forward. From single cells came more complex organisms, plants, animals, and finally, humans. Each step was part of God's perfect plan. Then came a turning point, the creation of humans. Early humans looked like animals, but they had something special, the potential for thought, art, music, and more. They were the beginning of something much greater. As St. Paul said, "It is God who works in you to will and to do his good pleasure." From the moment humans appeared, God began working through them, helping each generation grow and improve. This growth brought better societies, governments, and homes over time. Looking back at history, it's clear that people and their systems, religions, governments, and societies were once very cruel and brutal. But this wasn't because God was unjust. Humanity had to grow step by step, and the more animal-like parts of human nature developed first. For ages, people were harsh and selfish, which caused suffering. But God didn't enjoy this suffering. Instead, he constantly sent messages to help people move forward. Little by little, brutality lessened, and spirituality grew. Throughout history, there were always individuals who were ahead of their time. These people, inspired by God, led others through their words and actions. They were prophets, leaders, and even martyrs who helped humanity progress. When we look at what seems like evil today, poverty, injustice, or immorality, we should remember that these things are part of a larger process. They are not permanent. They are stages of growth. Everything has its place in God's plan. For example, the corruption in cities or the suffering in certain areas exists because it plays a role in human development. When their purpose is fulfilled, God will remove them, just as he removed the strange creatures of prehistoric times. Why is all this happening? Because God wants to express himself. He is shaping humanity to reflect his love and justice. The suffering, challenges, and growth we see are all part of this process. God's goal isn't to perfect a few individuals, but to uplift the entire human race. One day, his kingdom will be established on earth. This is the future envisioned in the Bible, a time when there will be no more crying or pain, when all the hardships of the past will be gone, and the world will be filled with light and peace. Chapter 20. Serving God. So far, I've been guiding you through these chapters to help you figure out one big question. What is your duty? This question confuses a lot of good, sincere people. They struggle to find answers. When you decide to grow and become great, you'll realize that it means making changes in your life. You might lose some friends. Some family members might misunderstand you or feel left out. People around you might think you're being selfish because they expect you to give them more attention or help. The big question is, should you focus on becoming your best self, no matter what, or wait until it causes no trouble for others? It's about balancing duty to yourself with duty to others. Many people also worry about what they're supposed to do for God. In the US, for example, there's a lot of energy spent on church activities, which people call serving God. But I want to challenge the usual ideas about this. When Moses freed the Hebrews from Egypt, he said they were meant to serve God. Some believe this means worship. But later, God himself said he doesn't need sacrifices or rituals. Even Jesus taught that organized worship wasn't necessary. Paul explained that God doesn't need anything from us. What God really wants is to express himself through us. As humans evolve, every generation becomes more like God, wanting better homes, better work, and better lives. This isn't selfish. It's God's Spirit pushing us forward. People often feel discontent because they can imagine a better life than the one they're living. This isn't a bad thing. It's God's way of encouraging us to grow and improve. The only way to truly serve God is by becoming the best version of yourself. That way, God can work through you to bring something special into the world. Think of it like a child at a piano. The music inside him can't come out if his hands aren't trained. Similarly, God's Spirit is in all of us, waiting for us to develop our abilities so we can bring greatness into the world. Your most important duty to God, to yourself, and to others is to become as great as you can possibly be. This answers the question of what your duty is. Not everyone can understand the ideas in these teachings. Some people are so focused on surviving that they can't even think about growth or greatness. The best way to help them isn't by preaching. It's by living as an example. When they see what's possible, they might feel inspired to improve their own lives. Your job is to become great so you can help create a better world for the next generation. Many people worry about leaving their family behind when they start focusing on their own growth. My advice? Go for it. Step out boldly and work on becoming your best self. Any loss your family might feel will be temporary. In the long run, as you grow, you'll be able to support them better than ever before. Chapter 21. A summary of the science of being great. Every single person is created from the same intelligent source, which means we all share the same potential, abilities, and possibilities. Greatness is not reserved for a few. It is part of all of us and can be brought out by anyone willing to work for it. No matter who you are, you have the power to become great. Everything that exists in God also exists in us. This means we are not limited by the circumstances of our birth, family history, or environment. By tapping into the creative power of our soul, we can rise above anything holding us back. But to truly become great, the soul must take charge of our lives. It must guide our mind and body, leading us in the right direction. Human beings often make mistakes because our understanding is incomplete. Ignorance can cause us to lose our way. The solution is to connect our soul to the universal spirit, the source of all creation. This spirit is intelligent, present everywhere, and knows everything. It flows through every person and everything in existence. By aligning ourselves with this universal power, we can gain limitless knowledge and wisdom. To build this connection, we need to remove anything that separates us from God. This means choosing to live a divine and purposeful life. We must resist the pull of selfish desires or temptations that go against our highest values. We need to stop any actions that don't match the ideals we hold in our hearts. We also need to see the world in a new way. We must recognize that God is in everything and that nothing is fundamentally wrong with the world. Everything, nature, people, society, and even government, is perfect in its current state and constantly evolving toward a better and complete form. Every person, no matter their flaws, carries goodness within them. By uniting with God and seeing the world through this lens, we align ourselves with the divine purpose. To rise to true greatness, we must see God's presence everywhere and recognize the good in all things. This mindset allows us to serve the highest part of ourselves, the divine spark within us. Listening to the soul and following its guidance will lead us to fulfillment. Inside each of us is an inner light that pushes us toward what's best for us. This light guides us to higher purposes and urges us to reach our full potential. To achieve greatness, we must follow this light. We need to believe in the unity between ourselves and God, not just for our own benefit, but for the benefit of others. When we see ourselves as part of this divine connection, we can live like divine beings, gods among gods, and act accordingly. Faith in our own truth is essential. Once we recognize the right path, we must take action without hesitation. It starts with small, everyday decisions. If we see the right thing to do, we must do it, even if it seems insignificant. We need to stop acting without thought and start making deliberate, conscious choices. Sincerity in thought and action is key. We should create a clear vision of who we want to be at our best, our highest ideal of ourselves, and hold on to this image. This ideal should shape how we think and act until it becomes our natural way of living. Every action, no matter how small, should reflect this vision of greatness. When we deal with our family, friends, and others, we should act in ways that embody our ideals. A truly great person treats even the smallest task or interaction as an opportunity to express their highest self. A person who sees life this way dedicates themselves to their ideals and consistently acts on them is already living a great life. Such a person will naturally do things in a great way. Their presence will be felt, their actions will inspire, and others will recognize their power and worth. They will receive the knowledge they need through intuition and inspiration, gaining insight into everything required for their success. Material wealth, opportunities, and resources will come to them because they've created a strong foundation of thought and action. They won't lack for anything good in life. They'll also be able to handle any challenge or situation that arises. Their growth will be steady and rapid, and they'll attract opportunities for greater work and recognition. Their influence will spread, and people will honor them for their contributions to the world. The text concludes with an excerpt from Ralph Waldo Emerson's essay, The Oversoul. Emerson explains that the soul is not just part of us, it is the essence of who we are. It connects us to all wisdom, beauty, and truth in the universe. He describes the soul as the part of us that transcends daily life. It's not a tool like the mind or body. It's the source of all these things. The soul is the light within us that shines on everything we see and do, reminding us that we're more than just our physical selves. The soul draws power from the divine. It connects us to a universal truth that inspires us, shapes us, and gives us a sense of purpose. When we align ourselves with this truth, we become greater than we ever imagined. We no longer see ourselves as separate individuals, but as part of a larger, divine whole. Emerson emphasizes that the soul isn't something we need to earn or learn. It's already within us. It naturally contains all virtues like love, justice, and humility. When we listen to it and act from it, we don't need to strive for goodness. We simply are good. Finally, he compares the soul's growth to transformation. Just as a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, we ascend to higher states of being when we let the soul guide us. Each step brings us closer to our true nature, and this process lifts not just ourselves, but humanity as a whole. Thank you for listening.